Now we will see the calculation part of experiment. So we are looking at trial on window AC. So after completing the video on window AC practical session, we have to calculate COP. So what is the aim of the experiment? To determine COP of air conditioning system. Now after taking and noting down the readings, we'll see first observation table. So here you can see one value has been written, compressor energy meter constant. It is in short known as EMC. If you see this energy meter which is there on the setup, here you will be able to observe the constant EMC value. It is 3200 impulse per kilowatt hour. So same value has been written over here. EMC is 3200 impulse per kilowatt hour. Now we have taken the readings and all the readings are written over here in observation table. So this is a sample reading and we have observation 1 to observation 4. So while performing, we had taken temperature T1 to T9. Then we had taken high pressure value, low pressure value and time required for 10 pulses of energy meter. Also we had noted down LPH value of refrigerant, which is R134A. Now here sample calculations are shown, so you have to write it like this: calculation for reading number. So whichever reading you are doing calculation, you have to write down that reading number. So if you are doing calculation for 1, here it will be 1 in bracket. Now we'll understand the vapor compression system here. So here this part is compressor, second part is condenser, third part is expansion device and fourth part is evaporator. So at the beginning of the compressor, point number 1, we have low pressure, low temperature vapor refrigerant. Now it is compressed in compressor, and at point 2 we have high pressure, high temperature vapor. This vapor enters the condenser, and as the name suggests, condenser, that vapor is condensed to liquid. So high pressure, high temperature liquid. Now this point 3 enters the expansion device, where there will be isenthalpic expansion, pressure drops, temperature drops, and we get liquid plus vapor mixture. Now out of this liquid plus vapor, most of the part will be liquid part. Now liquid plus vapor, low pressure, low temperature refrigerant, it enters evaporator. And in evaporator, in case of AC, what is the evaporator? This will be the room. Okay, so room will be there, people will be sitting inside the room, and whatever liquid plus vapor is entering, out of that liquid, it will pick up the heat from the occupants and it will get converted to vapor. And finally at the outlet of the evaporator, again we have low pressure, low temperature vapor. Now these are the points which we have given: point 1, point 2, point 3 and point 4. What is point 1? Point 1 is entry to the compressor, or you can say exit of evaporator. Point 2 is exit of compressor or inlet of condenser. Point 3 is exit of condenser or inlet of expansion device. And point 4 is exit of expansion device and inlet of evaporator. Now we will see what temperatures we have noted while taking observations. T1 and T2, these are air inlet, wet bulb and dry bulb temperature. So in this experiment, we don't require T1 to T4 temperature. So these temperatures we will not be making use of in this experiment. So we will see what is this dry bulb, wet bulb temperature when we do the experiment on psychrometry. So for now, we won't be considering this T1 to T4 readings. Okay, next we will move for T5. Now this T5 is what? Evaporator inlet temperature, T5. So here you can see evaporator inlet is 0.4 according to our notation. So this temperature is T5. Then evaporator outlet temperature is T6. So evaporator outlet, here I have written, it is T6. Then condenser inlet temperature, it is T7. So here this is condenser inlet, it is T7. and condenser outlet temperature, it is T8. So condenser outlet is this one, and I have written over here this temperature is T8. Now after writing this notations, we have to do the calculation. Now before starting with the calculation part, we'll understand what is the position of rotameter, where we take the reading of refrigerant flow rate. So this rotameter, it is attached after condenser. So here you can see after condenser, rotameter is attached, and what is entering the rotameter is T8 temperature liquid refrigerant. So when we are calculating mass flow rate of refrigerant, in that case we have to take density of refrigerant R134A at T8 temperature, and that density will be of liquid refrigerant, not vapor refrigerant. So we will do the calculations for sample reading, which is this one. This column is sample reading. So for 44 LPH, okay, you can see here LPH is how much? 44. So 44 LPH, we have to convert that LPH into meter cube per second. So 44 into 10 raised to minus 3 or divide by 1000 will convert it in meter cube, and to convert R into seconds we are dividing by 3600. So we will get 1.222 into 10 raised to minus 5 meter cube per second. Now we will multiply meter cube per second into density. What is the unit of density? Density is kg per meter cube. So this meter cube and this meter cube, it will get cancelled, and finally you will get unit as kg per second. So we will be able to calculate mass flow rate of refrigerant. Now in order to get the density of R134A, I have already told you after condenser we have rotameter, and after condenser here liquid is there. So we have to see at T8 temperature what is density of liquid R134A refrigerant. So what is T8 temperature? T8 temperature is 32 degrees Celsius. So we will see the appendix part of the manual, which is there at the end of the manual. So in appendix we have properties of R134A. So first column is temperature, and if you see column number 3, it is density of liquid. We require density of liquid, so we will search for the required temperature. So here you can see 32 degrees Celsius. What is the density of liquid? Third column, it is 1180. What is the unit of density? Here it has been written kg per meter cube. So we will take that value to calculate mass flow rate. So here you can observe I have taken that value 1180 kg per meter cube. So multiply meter cube per second by that density part, you will get mass flow rate of refrigerant in kg per second. Now we'll see how to plot the pH diagram. Okay. So theoretical, if you see theoretical cycle, how to draw the pH diagram is, we have T high temperature which we get from higher pressure or HP, and T low temperature, this is saturation temperature, which we get from LP pressure, low pressure. So for that we will see the pressure gauges now. Now what is the reading of HP and LP pressure? HP is 160 psi and LP is 42 psi. Now whatever pressure you measure on pressure gauge, that is gauge pressure. We have to convert that gauge pressure to absolute pressure. How to convert gauge pressure to absolute pressure? Add atmospheric pressure. So whatever pressure is there, this is psi. What is full form of psi? Pound per square inch. So LB is pound per square inch. So we'll see the pressure gauges now. So just observe, on right side we have high pressure gauge and left side we have low pressure gauge. High pressure gauge, it is of red color, low pressure gauge is of blue color. Now just observe this inner scale, this scale is psi and outer scale is bar. So we will basically read the value of inner scale. So this value after 50 it is 2 division, so it will be 160 psi gauge. Why gauge? Because we are reading from pressure gauge, so this pressure will be gauge pressure. So 160 divided by 14.504 to convert this psi into bar, plus add this atmospheric pressure 1.01325 bar. So from here you will get bar absolute value. Now one more method here you can see is outer scale of this pressure gauge, it is bar. So directly from here also you can read the bar value, plus you have to add 1.01325 bar to get bar absolute from bar gauge. But in order to remember the relation how to convert psi into bar, when you are performing experiment, you have to take the reading of pressure in psi only, and then use this relation and then convert it into bar and then add atmospheric pressure to get bar absolute. So this is HP, high pressure value. Now if you observe the low pressure gauge, blue color pressure gauge, this one. So here after 40 there is one line. Okay, so that will be 42 psi. Now convert 42 psi gauge to bar absolute. How to do that? 42 divided by 14.504, psi is converted into bar, plus atmospheric pressure, which is 1.01325 bar. From here you will get LP, which is equal to 3.9 bar absolute. Now after getting HP and LP pressure, you have to mark these pressures on pH diagram. Now here you can see TL and TH has been written. What are these temperatures? These are saturation temperature. Tsat at LP pressure, and this is Tsat at HP pressure. So T high and T low. So there are different methods of calculating this saturation temperature T high and T low. So we'll see all the methods one by one. First method is table method. So we had seen the appendix at the end of the manual where properties of refrigerants are given. So from there you can get what is the value of this temperature. So consider this, suppose this is 12 bar, approximately 12 bar pressure is there. So we'll see what is the saturation temperature in the table. So see the second column, 12 bar pressure, what is the saturation temperature? Temperature is first column. So 12 bar we will search. So 12 bar, it is in between 46 and 47. Temperature will be somewhere between 46 and 47. So we will see what temperature we have written, between 46 and 47. So here you can see T high, it is, we have taken it as 46. Okay, now different methods are there, so values might vary a bit. Okay, so this is the table method which we saw. Similarly, for low pressure, again go to the table and you can locate this pressure value. So we can do that now for 3.9 bar. So this is the pressure and this is the saturation temperature. So 3.9 bar we will see. So pressure, it is in between 3.9 bar. So it will be over here. So temperature is in between 8 and 9 degrees Celsius. So here you can see we have taken the temperature 8. So temperature was between 8 and 9. Okay. Next method we will see now, which is pressure gauge method of calculating this saturation temperature T high and T low. So if you see the pressure gauge, here you will find R134A has been written. So we have R22, R407C, R404A and R134A. So we will see R134A, here the temperature unit is degree Celsius. It has been written. So what is the temperature? Here you can see it is cutting at, so this will be 1, 2 and 3. So total is 5. Okay, so 42, this is 0.40 and this is 0.50. Total 5 divisions are there. So one division will be 2 degrees Celsius. So 42, 43, 44, 45, 46. So we have written T high as 46. Same way if you see LP pressure gauge, here again you have to see the last scale of temperature in degree Celsius. So for 42 PSI gauge, what is the temperature? Here this is 0 and here this is 10. In between we have 5 divisions, so per division is 2. So 2, 4, 6 and 8. So here you can see I have written 8 degrees Celsius as T low temperature. Now next method we will see, which is known as Danfoss refrigeration tool app. Okay, so just remember we have 160 PSI gauge and 42 PSI gauge as LP value. So from there we can calculate what is the saturation temperature. So we can confirm this value now. So this is that Danfoss refrigeration tool app, and in that we have gone to refrigerant slider. Okay, now in refrigerant slider here there are different tools in which we have selected this refrigerant slider. In this refrigerant slider we have to first select the refrigerant. So I have to select R134A. So here this is R134A. Now whatever bar value of LP pressure which we have calculated, it is absolute. So convert this into absolute, and it was 3.9. So we'll type in 3.9 bar. So here you can see TL, saturation temperature, we had taken it as 8 degrees Celsius. Okay, because we had used chart or table method. So approximately that was the answer, but actually if you see what is the T low value, it is 8.18 degrees Celsius. Next, we had calculated HP pressure, which was equal to 12.044 bar absolute. Okay, so here you can see bar A is written, so this is absolute. So what is the temperature over here? Saturation temperature T high, it is 46.46 degrees Celsius, and we have considered it as 46 degrees Celsius. Now we will see the next method. Now next method of calculation of saturation temperature, we have seen table method, we have seen pressure gauge, we have seen Danfoss refrigeration tool app. Okay, last method we will see now, which is pH chart. So what is high pressure value? It is 12.044 bar absolute, and what is low pressure value? It is 3.9 bar absolute. Now we will go to pH diagram. If you observe this pH diagram carefully, this pH diagram, it is written over here, it is for R134A refrigerant. Now if you see the y-axis where pressure is written, that pressure unit is in bar. So we have to plot here. Now see the divisions here. This is 0.5, then 0.6, okay, then 0.7 till 1. Then from 1 we directly have 1.5. And if you see this point, from 10 directly we have 15. So this distance, it is not uniform. Okay, so even though 10 is over here, if you mark, you can see over here 12 bar, it is at this location. Now how to identify this is, we can do some reverse engineering. From table, okay, if you go to the table in appendix, there you will find 12.04 bar, and from there we will get the TH value. And if you see this is saturation curve, okay, this is saturation curve, vapor dome. This region will be subcooled liquid. This is saturated liquid curve. Inside this will be wet vapor region. This curve is saturated vapor curve, and this region is superheated vapor region. Now just observe these lines, these are entropy equal to constant line. On y-axis we have pressure in bar, on x-axis we have specific enthalpy in kilojoule per kg. So what we will do is, for 12 bar from chart, from table, for 12 bar, we will see what is the temperature. What was that temperature? It was around 46. So here you can see, this is 45 point, above that I have taken 46. So from that 46, and here also this is 45, above that there will be 46. So you have to draw a complete horizontal line covering the chart. This will be HP 12.04 bar. In same way, again go to appendix. LP is 3.9 bar absolute. Read the temperature value from there. It is approximately T low is 8. So here you can see from 5 to 10. I have divided it in 5 equal parts, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And from 8 degrees Celsius, I have drawn a horizontal line. So 8 over here and 8 over here. Okay, both sides you have to mark 8, and using these 2 points you have to draw a horizontal line. This line will be LP 3.9 bar. Now next is we have to mark point number 1. What is point number 1? Entry to the compressor, okay, or exit of the evaporator. So we will see what is the temperature of that point. So entry point of the compressor, that temperature is T6, okay, or evaporator outlet is what? Compressor inlet. That temperature is T6. What is that temperature? For our sample calculation, it is 19 degrees Celsius. So go back to the pH chart. After marking HP and LP pressure values, you have to search on this saturated vapor curve 19 degrees Celsius. So here you can see this is 20, below that there will be 19. So from that you can see this, what is the nature of temperature line on pH chart? Here it will be, we'll take an example of this 25 degrees Celsius. So it will be vertical over here, 25, then in this region it is horizontal till this point, and here again 25 is there, from this it will drop down like this. So here you can see this is 30 degrees Celsius temperature curve. Okay, and so on. So these are different temperature curves. So this is 60, 80, 100 and so on. Now temperature of point 1, it is given as how much? We had just now read the value, it is 19. So before 20, this point will be 19. Drop a curve like this. Okay, this is curve. This is not a vertical line. Okay, please make a note of this. For this 20 degree curve, you have to draw a parallel curve. So just understand this. I'll zoom this. So this is 20 degree Celsius temperature curve. I have drawn 19 degree parallel to it. And wherever it cuts the low pressure curve, that will be point number 1. Now after marking point number 1, you have to follow isentropic process. Okay, so after marking point number 1, follow the isentropic, these are isentropic curves. So follow isentropic curve till high pressure value. So this is high pressure, we will follow till that. So this will be point number 2. Now for point number 3, what is the saturation temperature? If you see for point number 2 and point number 3, saturation temperature is 46 degrees Celsius. But we want actual subcool temperature. So what is condenser outlet? Condenser outlet, it is T8. So here you can see condenser outlet temperature, it is 32 degrees Celsius. Okay, now please note that when we are drawing the pH diagram, that is theoretical pH diagram. Okay, it is not actual pH diagram. So that is why we are only taking reference of evaporator outlet temperature, which is T6. And in the pH chart, we are taking that point as 0.1. And we are taking second reference as this T8, which is condenser outlet, point number 3. Okay, so it is not like compressor outlet, it will be, which point it will be? Inlet to the condenser, right? T7. So don't take this 50 degree and mark point 2 according to that 50 degree. We are following 1 to 2 process as what? Isentropic compression. Because we will be calculating theoretical COP from that pH chart. Okay, actual COP, other method is there. So this point number 3 we are denoted as T8. What is that T8? Condenser outlet. It is 32. So we'll see the pH diagram now. So this point temperature, it is 46 degrees Celsius. Okay, and if you see this curve, on this curve you have to locate what is the temperature just now we have seen it is 32. So here you can see this is 30 and this is 35. Divide it in 5 equal parts. So if you divide this in 5 equal parts, so this is 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35. So from this 32 point, draw a vertical line. Wherever this vertical line cuts high pressure bar reading, okay, 12.04, that will give you subcooled point number 3. So point number 3, you can see it lies to the left of this saturated liquid line. So we have marked point 3. Now 3 to 4, it is isenthalpic process and x-axis is enthalpy. So we have to just draw vertical from 3 to the low pressure value, which is 4. So this will be point number 4. In this way, we have completed pH chart. So we have shown point 1, point 2, point 3 and point 4 on pH diagram. Now just you have to take your roller scale, and if you notice this line, this is the vertical line. Okay, here be careful, because if you see this is a curve. Okay, and vertical line is this line. So please make sure to understand the difference between these curves and the straight lines. Okay, so for point 1, if you see the immediate straight line, it is this one. Okay, just understand this. This is the straight line. So to this line, keep your roller scale and draw a parallel from point number 1. You can see this, wherever it intersects x-axis, there you have to read H1 value. So here you can see this is 410 and this is 420, and in between we have 415, and whatever 0.1 enthalpy it is left of that. Okay, so approximately it is ahead of the center of this 410 to 415. So we will take it as H1 is equal to 413 kilojoule per kg. Now for point 2, draw vertical in upward direction. Wherever it cuts the horizontal axis, that will give you point 2. Okay, now this is 400, this will be 410, 420, 430, 440 and this is 450. So here you can see this is 430 and this is 440 and line is over here, so approximately H2 is 438 kilojoule per kg. Next, enthalpy of point 3. Either you can extend this point in this direction, or you can draw vertical from point number 4 over here. Okay, so if you take this point over here, what is the reading? This is 240 and this is 250. You will get that value on x-axis. So here you can see this is 240. So this value is 240 and this value it is 250. So this value is 250. So it is not exactly in the center, it is left of the center. So we have taken this value as 244 kilojoule per kg. Now write down all these values. Okay, and how to calculate the theoretical COP? Theoretical COP will be refrigerating effect upon compressor work. Okay, what is refrigerating effect? It is the heat absorbed in the evaporator part. So it will be H1 minus H4. And what is compressor work? It will be H2 minus H1. 1 to 2 is isentropic compression and 4 to 1 is constant pressure heat absorption or refrigerating effect in evaporator. So what is theoretical COP? It will be H1 minus H4 divided by H2 minus H1. Now here you can see we have calculated refrigeration effect produced. What will be that? Okay, refrigerating effect, it is heat is taken from 4 to 1, 0.4 to 0.1. This diagram was like this. Okay, so higher enthalpy is H1 and lower enthalpy is H4. So mass of refrigerant into H1 minus H4. Mass of refrigerant we have calculated over here, and from pH chart substitute the value of H1 and H4. So from here you will get refrigerating effect produced. It is 2.4353 kilowatt. Now next we will calculate actual work done, power consumed by compressor in kilowatt. Now for this W actual equation, how did we take the reading for this? We had used energy meter. Okay, so here see the photo of energy meter. We had taken this energy meter and there we calculated for 10 blinks, 10 impulse, what is the time required. So if you see the time in the observation table, so time for 10 pulses, it is 15.12 seconds. So W actual will be 10 pulses multiplied by 3600 divided by time taken, which is 15.12 into EMC. Energy meter constant we have seen 3200 impulse per kilowatt hour. So from here we can calculate what is actual power consumed by the compressor, which comes out to be 0.744 kilowatt. Now how you can get by just taking the time in seconds for 10 impulses, value in kilowatt, that calculation we will see. So here you can see the left hand side, this here I have shown you the unit part. So total is 10 impulses. For 10 impulses, that is why here 10 is there. And EMC, what is the unit? Impulse per kilowatt hour, that I have written. And this TC is time for 10 impulse. So here this will be seconds. So if you want to convert this R into seconds, impulse per kilowatt hour. So if you want to convert this R into second, in numerator you have to multiply by 3600. So finally you can cancel impulse. This R has converted into seconds, you can cancel second. And finally the unit is kilowatt, which we got over here. So 10 impulse divided by, this is in seconds, EMC is 3200 impulse per kilowatt hour, and to convert this R into seconds we are multiplying by 3600. So this second will get cancelled, impulse will get cancelled, and finally we have unit in kilowatt. Now after calculating actual work done, we can calculate what is the actual COP of the system. So actual refrigerating effect we have calculated. Why this refrigerating effect is actual? Because this mass flow rate we have measured on rotameter. Okay, so this will be COP is refrigerating effect produced divided by actual work done or power consumed by compressor. So what is refrigerating effect? It is 2.4353 kilowatt divided by what is the actual power consumed by the compressor? It is 0.744 kilowatt. So from here you will get actual COP, which is 3.27. Now we have to calculate, next calculation is Carnot COP. Now Carnot COP for refrigeration or air conditioning application, it is T low upon T high minus T low. Remember that these temperatures should be in Kelvin. That is why when we had calculated this pressure value here, and after that we calculated this T low, we added plus 273 and converted it in Kelvin. Similarly, you can see from HP we calculated TH. Okay, using this method, either table, pH chart, app or pressure gauge. Okay, but for your practical purpose, what you have to do, you can see the table first and then you have to take the reference of pH chart. So these two methods, by these two methods you will get the temperature. So TH is 46 plus 273. So just we have to substitute this 281 Kelvin and this TH Kelvin value in Carnot COP. So Carnot COP is T low upon T high minus T low equal to 281 divided by 319 minus 281. So from here we can get Carnot COP as 7.39. Now since this Carnot COP is ideal COP, here you can observe that Carnot COP it is greater than actual COP. Now we will calculate efficiency of the plant. So equation of efficiency of plant is actual COP upon Carnot COP. Actual COP was 3.27, which we have calculated, and Carnot COP is 7.39. And efficiency you have to multiply by 100. So actual COP upon Carnot COP multiplied by 100, 44.24%. Now last part is theoretical COP. How to calculate theoretical COP? Okay, first we'll see the diagram, observe this. 1 to 2 is isentropic compression, 2 to 3 is constant pressure heat rejection in condenser, 3 to 4 is isenthalpic expansion, and 4 to 1 is constant pressure evaporation in evaporator. So what is the refrigerating effect? So theoretical COP is refrigerating effect divided by compressor work, WC. So refrigerating effect, it will be H1 minus H4 divided by what is compressor work, it is H2 minus H1. All the enthalpies we have noted on pH diagram. So substitute the value, you will get theoretical COP. What is the value of theoretical COP? 6.76. Now just compare the values. Which one is the highest COP? Carnot COP, which is 7.39. In between we have theoretical COP, which is 6.76. And the least COP out of these three, it is actual COP. So actual COP is 3.27. Now based on this we can write down the conclusion. So what is the conclusion of this experiment? COP of Carnot cycle is greater than actual and theoretical. So COP of Carnot cycle is the highest, and then COP of Carnot cycle, it depends on what? COP of Carnot cycle, it is dependent on T low. What is the equation? T low upon T high minus T low. So it depends on T low and it depends on T high. So if T low value is increased, Carnot COP will increase. If T high value is decreased, Carnot COP will increase. So same thing is written. Carnot COP can be increased by increasing T low and decreasing T high. Now what is this T high? This T high is temperature at which heat is rejected, saturation temperature. Okay, we had calculated what is the HP pressure. Okay, we read the value of HP pressure in PSI gauge. From there we converted it in bar absolute, and from there we got this TH value. So it is basically condenser temperature. So if atmospheric condition, it is cold, okay, meaning the surrounding where heat is being rejected, this TH, if that temperature is low, COP will be high. So that is why in winter season COP is high. Next thing, this TL, it depends on what application. What is that TL temperature? How we calculated TL? First we read the value of LP pressure in PSI gauge. We converted it into bar absolute. And from that bar absolute, we calculated this TL. There were 4 methods from that. So we calculated TL, and this TL is what? It was evaporator side temperature. Okay, so it was this TL is what? It is this evaporator side temperature. So if evaporator temperature is kept high, in that case COP increases. What is meaning of this? We have 2 applications. What are the applications? Refrigeration and air conditioning. Refrigerator means the application can be in negative temperature also. So minus 19 degrees Celsius can be the application of refrigeration. What is the application of temperature of air conditioner? It is 24 degrees Celsius. So where is T low higher? It is in case of AC. So if you consider higher value of T low, COP will increase accordingly. So basically this 8 degrees Celsius refrigerant is sent in the entry of the evaporator. It picks up the heat, and finally here you can see it gets converted. What is the temperature which we got? Evaporator outlet temperature. It was 19. Okay, so it picks up the heat from the occupants and then the temperature increases. Now again, if you see the pH chart, from this point, 4 point to this point, this will be the latent heat part. So here you can see latent heat is being picked up by the refrigerant from the room. Okay, and if you see from this point to this point, this is superheating. So here there will be sensible heating. Same thing you can observe on condensation part from 2 to this point. It will be de-superheating. What is the actual temperature of point 2? Here you can see this. If you extend this curve like this, parallel to this one, this curve is 60. So the point 2 temperature, it is above 60. This is 60 curve, and this curve is how much we will see. This is 80. So this point, it is in between 60 temperature and 80. So here this temperature is higher than 60. Okay, and what is the saturation temperature? So saturation temperature means this temperature. Okay, this temperature is 46 degrees Celsius. So point 2 is superheated if you compare it with 46 degrees Celsius, which is Tsat. So that is why 2 to this point, this will be de-superheating part, and from this point to this point, this will be latent heat rejection in condenser, where phase changes from saturated vapor to saturated liquid, and from this point to this point, this is subcooling. Again, here you can see temperature changes. Here we have 46, and what is the subcooled temperature? It is 32 degrees Celsius. So now you can start calculations. We have 4 batches and 4 observations are shown over here. Okay, observation 1, 2, 3 and 4. Each batch will do calculation for their observation number. So batch 1 will do calculation for observation 1, batch 2 will do calculation for observation 2, batch 3 and then batch 4. I have shown you the sample calculation. Okay, don't show the calculation, don't do the calculation for sample in your manual. So we will stop over here.